You're live on Facebook and YouTube.
All right. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the
Live on
podcast of the
Instagram.
live. We'll let the notifications go out to everyone and we'll kick things off. James, what do we call today's podcast slash live?
Your client deserves better.
Holy shit. So, your clients do deserve better. And we're going to talk about why and why this pertains to you and why this pertains to pricing too. All right. So, today we're going to be touching on pricing, value pricing, raising your prices, and the mindset shift that you really should be making as a stylist who is trying to like raise what you're charging, increasing your pricing. And there's a mindset behind this, and there's a framework that kind of sparked this conversation for me. So, James,
Yeah.
the reason why I bring this up is I heard a YouTube video the other day. It was talking about Kobe Bryant, and his wife asked him one day, "Why do you play through all the injuries? Like, why do you do it?" And he's like, "Some of these fans, this may be the only game that they're gonna make it to. Like, they're gonna show up live, and they showed up live to see me, and they saved all their money to come see me. And if I back out, and if I'm the reason why they came to this game and spent all that money, and I don't show up and give it 100%, I'm letting them down." And so for a lot of hairstylists, it's like you charge $400, $500, 200, whatever the price is you charge. And a lot of times we get desensitized about how much money that might be. And that particular client saved up for 2 or 3 months or 4 months to get that full highlight or to get that experience, especially the people out there who are showcasing themselves on Instagram, and you do a great job marketing, and you're great on TikTok, and you present this beautiful balayage and extensions and work or haircuts, whatever it is that you do. And if you have a bad day, you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to cancel, or I'm not going to show up today, or I'm not going to give it my all. That client just got cut short. Like, you didn't deliver 100% of yourself. And this is why it's so difficult in our industry, because no matter what, you have to show up. You could have gotten a fight with your husband or your boyfriend or your wife, and you have to go to work. And no matter what, you have to show up. It's not about you at a certain point in the service industry. And that one person, are you going to let them down? Like, they may have saved up for 2 months to get that color service from you. And that may be the only time they actually experience a luxury salon. And so I want you to change your perspective and what, like, your mindset around like why you're charging, what you're charging, and who you're charging it to. Because some people, this may be the only time they get a chance to get the hair done in a salon like yours. And so we take things for granted. If you're a busy stylist and you're making a lot of money and you're doing really well for yourself, 500 may not be a lot for you. 200 may not be a lot for you, but it may be a lot for that person. And so when you have that client come in your salon and they're asking a lot of questions, and this is a big commitment for them. This is big to spend X amount of dollars on their hair. Like, make sure you show up for them. Make sure you're delivering the result, delivering the promise that that price sets. So a lot of people, when I talk about pricing, I talk about pricing your services in a way because it's insurance on that color. It's insurance on that haircut. Anyone could cut hair. Like, you could cut hair, no shedding, no light on shedding, putting no shade on Great Clips or like these franchise places. $25 haircut, a $15 haircut. That actually may be a good haircut. The person may be super talented. They may not just believe in themselves enough to charge more money than that. So, yeah, you might get a good haircut there. But the reason why people pay 100, 200, $300 for a haircut, it's so you don't get your hair messed up. It's so you're almost guaranteed to get a good haircut. And so it's up to you as a stylist to deliver that result. And so many hairstylists out there believe they should be charging more. They believe they're worth more. And you're thinking it from yourself. And that's 100%. You should be worried about, obviously, your own income and your own family, and you're doing this for a reason. But think about the person who's showing up to your salon. And if it's only one time, so they can experience what it's like to visit a luxury salon and get that kind of haircut, whether it's for maybe a first date, for their wedding, for an event. and you have to make sure you show up for them. It's a lot of pressure. That's why it's important when you're doing your pricing, when you're thinking about how much you want to charge on your worst day, on the worst of the worst days of your entire life, something catastrophic happened, but you still had to make it to work. Can you still deliver on that $500 highlight, on that $200 haircut? And if you can, then that should be your price because somebody somewhere is saving enough money to make this thing happen for them, whether it's a cut or a color or an extension. And you have to make sure that you could live up to that promise. And I think that when we start changing that perspective, when it comes around pricing, I think that changes almost everything. And so on your worst day, are you worth 250 for a haircut? And if you're not, that's okay. You can get there someday, but then you got some work to do. So when I did my pricing for myself, that's how I did it. Like I always thought about it from the perspective of the client and can I with 100% certainty guarantee that I could deliver the result that's worth 350 for a highlight on my worst day. And that's just a little mindset shift I wanted to unpack for everybody on here when it came to pricing, because the conversation about pricing, whether it's hourly, whether you figure out how much you're worth per minute, I charge for the result. Like there's a lot of different pricing strategies out there. But what it comes down to is can you deliver on that price to that client? And if you could, you don't really have to worry about one-star reviews or letting people down because you always deliver. You always actually over deliver because typically you're not having your worst day ever. Typically, all your days should be predominantly good, but you always have those one off days when you're just not feeling 100%. Something happened in your life. You might be a little distracted. You might have not heard what that client said because your mind's somewhere else, but you still could deliver on that service at that price that you're charging. James, we're going to open up to a little Q&A. I'm going to keep it on a shorter side of a live today. But guys, I want you to, if you have any questions pertaining to pricing or mindset, drop it in the comments. James is reading the comments right now. And if you have any questions in regards to pricing, I'd like to help unpack them today on the live because I'm seeing more and more questions about pricing, especially like with whatever people are talking about now with tariffs and increases and the rising cost of color and products. So there's a lot of questions out there from people. James.
Right now, we only have hi Nick. Thank you for your videos from
Oh,
Erica Highlights.
Erica, what's up? You're welcome. Yeah, because I mean, while we're here talking pricing, tariffs, like that's another conversation people are having. What you should raise your prices to. If things go up 20% on a $10 tube of color, it's $2. It's not that much. Don't get freaked out. It's not that big of a deal. Trust me. So I want everyone to look at your price menu, take a look at all your prices, and ask yourself, can I deliver with 100% certainty on my worst day the best possible service that nobody else could deliver at that level in my area for that price? And if you can, awesome. Then you're priced right. If you can't, then you have to either raise your standards and raise your skills to meet that price. I don't ever want to suggest lowering your price. I'd rather just see you raise your standards to meet that price. And if you can raise your price and on your worst day still deliver the best result in your area at that price, then raise your prices. I don't really like charging by the hour. I don't think that that's really an effective way to price your services. I believe as you gain experience in this industry, you could deliver a much better result in a much faster time. And so that's worth something. I put 25 plus years in this industry. What might take me 20 minutes to apply and problem solve a unique color situation, I should get paid based on the experience that I have and the education that I have to deliver that result in a shorter amount of time, less damage to your hair than the person who thinks that, oh, I'm going to charge by the hour and I'm going to look at this person's canvas. It's going to take me 8 hours from start to finish to achieve that result. When they put in highlights, they put in lowlights, the overtone, then they had to relift, then they had to clarify the hair. Like you went in circles. So that's why you pay a premium to someone who can deliver a result. And that's why you pay for the result and not the time. So if you're an experienced stylist out there right now and people are trying to convince you to charge by the hour, I'm going to try and have a conversation with you to not charge by the hour and charge by the result because you know what you're doing and you don't have to go A, C, E, F, J, K, W to get to B. All you have to do is go from A to B. And so many people, they take so many classes and they feel like you learn from this person, you learn from that person, you learn from that person. You take all that knowledge and you try and stuff it into your own portfolio of tools when all you need to do was a few highlights and then retone the person. But because you have all this knowledge and you're not experienced enough yet, and you think you're charging by the hour, you do so many steps that aren't needed. And so charge for the result. How can I deliver this inspiration picture to this person in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of damage to their hair? That's it. And can I always deliver that result? So, with that said, that's my pricing conversation. That video I saw with on YouTube talking about Kobe Bryant showing up through injury after injury and always playing at 100% kind of made me think about our industry because whenever I watch things on, whether it's YouTube or I listen to a podcast outside of our industry, I always try and relate it back to our industry again. And how can I apply that for people in the community, to my own team, and to myself? And so that's where I got that idea from.
So
James,
I got a good question for you.
all right, shoot it.
How do I help stylists see pricing as part of their brand and not just a transaction?
Oh, this conversation right here. Yeah, it's 100% part of your brand. It's just like Louis Vuitton. The reason why they could charge $3,500 for a $20 purse is because of their brand. But like exactly what I just said today, they need to be able to deliver with 100% certainty on that price for that haircut or that highlight on their worst day. Because we're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. And you only get measured by your bad days. You like that one client who you didn't show up for, you didn't deliver that highlight for. Guess where they're going? Yelp, Google, Bing, and they're leaving you a review. You have to make sure that you're always able to deliver no matter what's going on in your life. And that's your brand. Like I believe the same, I coach my team the same way. It's not just the salon's brand, like that's you're in charge of that brand as well as the owner. And each one of my stylists, they're in charge of their personal brand. That's why they have their own Google business page. That's why I like them to come up with their own pricing, what they feel comfortable with. And I give them guidance on it. Like I'll help them figure out like what is a good particular price they should be charging to the client and can they deliver that result in like a normal amount of time too. A lot of times when someone comes in to for a service, especially color, for instance, like they may show you the inspo picture and that might actually be like $700 worth of work. And it might be a long 7, 8 hour job. But why not break it up? Why not take them through a journey? Why not get them like map it out for them? This is a transformation. This is a hair transformation. So make it a transformation. Make it like today we're going to do this. I'm going to have you come in next week for a conditioning treatment and a repair treatment just to prep your hair for round two. Round two is in 2 weeks. Round three is in 4 weeks. And then round four is going to be, or round three is going to be in 6 weeks. Like make it a transformation for them. And so if you take them through a hair journey, then you don't have to really stuff in all these different services in one day and picker shock them. So instead of charging 700 today, it would be 200 visit one, 200 visit two, 200 visit three, and then 200 visit four. And so they're able to spread out that cost over the course of, a few months. And that's palatable for most people. And so take a look at your brand, take a look at the experience you're delivering, and then how are you going to make this a more enjoyable transformation for that client? Because sitting in the chair for 8 hours is not enjoyable. Like I've sat for plenty of hours getting tattoos for like 6 hours in a row, and it's brutal. I can't imagine sitting getting my hair colored. But you have to have that conversation with that person. And for your stylist, especially, how do you want that client to feel about you when they go home and they look in the mirror? Not today, not next week, but even 2 weeks from now. What is the conversation they're going to have with their friend about the stylist who did their hair? Because price has everything to do with that emotion. Did you over deliver? Did they feel like they got taken advantage of? Did they feel like it was worth it? Every person should leave that salon like, wow, that was a deal. Like there's plenty of times I used to charge people and they're like, that's it. And you're like, shit, I could have charged more. Right. But no, you shouldn't feel that way. Like every person should be like, that's it. Because that's how much you should over deliver on the services you provide. Every person should be like, holy shit, that's all you're charging me? And when you hear that enough times, then you can raise your prices. James, next question.
Um, kind of goes into what you were just saying. What are some signs that I'm undercharging based on client behavior or feedback?
Are you oversubscribed? Are you booked out a few months in advance? Are you getting referrals? Because people will send people to you when they know it's a good deal. Like it's like, wow, she's awesome and she's so inexpensive. You'll start filling your books up like that. And like honestly, you're gonna hear that what I just said, that's it at the register when you're ringing them out. But like you should raise your prices if you can on your worst day deliver a result for more money. It's time to raise your prices. It's not about like how much a highlight costs or a haircut costs. It's about the product you could deliver. If you deliver the best haircut in a 20-mile radius around your salon and nobody else can duplicate that exact cut or that exact color because of your unique talent, artistic ability, and your skill set and your education and your personality, if no one could duplicate that full experience within like a 10, 20-mile radius of your salon, I mean, you can name your price on anything. Within reason, but yeah, it's time to raise your prices then. You have to be the best. And when you're the best, you can charge what you want. James? Guys, any hairstylists watching right now, I'm opening a part of the Level Up Academy called Next Level Stylist, and it's going to be just for you guys. Like my main core program is meant for owners, how to become a better leader, how to lead a team, how to grow a team, how to develop a brand, all of that. And I'm opening a division of that for their team, which their teams are going to get access to, and also for stylists. So if you're struggling right now with pricing and mindset and like how to master certain skills and techniques behind the chair, this is going to be a great opportunity for everybody. It's priced super approachable. So it's going to be a way for you to really develop your own personal career and brand behind the chair and also learn about the personal economy. Learn how to become a brand ambassador, learn how to develop your own unique brand. So brands like hairstyling brands, Color Wow, Amika, they're going to start, seeing you out there, maybe start paying you money to use their products. James,
What can I add to my service to increase perceived value and justify higher pricing?
don't think about what you can add on. Think about what you can take away. Like if it takes Sally 8 hours to deliver this result color wise, and you could do it in two, that's valuable. Because if I'm a very high earning accountant, lawyer, person, a businesswoman, and I don't need to sit in the salon for 8 hours to get the same thing you can give me for two, that's worth money. Right. But like you have to understand, you need to be the best in order to raise your prices. Undeniable, you have to be the best. Hairstylists should go to you to get their hair done. Like my clientele was like 30% hairstylists. I just did a lot of hairstyles and they didn't work in my salon. They worked in other salons. They came to me to get their hair done. So you have to make sure that you're the best and then you can really charge whatever you want. It's about the experience too. Like when it comes to pricing and it comes to like the model I like to teach, I taught this on Monday. Think of a pie chart. And in that pie chart, let me see if I can show you guys right now. Let me bring this up for you. All right. So here's our pie chart. Don't mind my writing. This is personality.
Nick, we got to
And
set
this
up the camera right next to the whiteboard and just
I'm gonna
switch
we're
cameras.
going to switch it up. And this is going to be personality and then product or service, right? Don't listen, I'm just scribbling on here right now, just so you guys can see. I don't know if James, can you see that or is like out of focus?
There
There's
we
your
go. I can
pie
see
chart.
it. Yep. Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
At any given time, so those of you guys who like grew up in an age without pie charts, I don't know who that would be, but so 50% of your pie chart is your personality, 50% is your product, your service. At any given time, that pie chart has to be 100% full. So you're 50-50, you're cool, you're good. Now, let's say you're new to doing hair, you're not that talented yet, and you don't have much experience, and you're like 30% product. Like you're okay, you're not burning anyone's hair off, you're not like butchering anybody, but like 30% of that pie chart is your talent. That means your personality has to be 70% of that pie chart. You have to be funny, likable. And if you are 70% personality and 30% talent, you're 100% complete. You're good. You have enough of a likable character that it will carry your career. Now, let's say you're a little bit of a bitch, right? You have an attitude. So you're 30% personality, okay? You have to be 70% talented to make up for that lack of personality you have. And then at that point, you have 100%, you're good. When you have 30% personality and 30% talent, like you're a bitch, but you're also not good at doing hair, you're 60%. Guess what? 40% is missing. So guess what that means? You're not going to get busy. You're going to be an average hairdresser at best. And so that's, you got some improvement to do here. You have to either become more likable or become more talented and get better and take more classes and just refine your craft. So take a look at yourself, ask yourself, am I really likable? And do I deliver on the services that I promise? And if you do, well, then let's go raise your prices. James,
Let's see. Let me scroll. Um, how do I position myself as a premium stylist without discounting or negotiating prices?
A, never discount your prices and then you deliver the result. I always guarantee it. If they didn't like their hair, I would give them back their money. I wouldn't even charge them. Like I promised the result. Here's the caveat to that. If you try and come back to my salon again, well, let me give you full transparency. If you didn't like your hair, I guaranteed my work. I would do your hair again for free. I would color it, do whatever we need to do to get to where we had to go. Unless you like brought in a picture of blonde, you're like, hey, I really want to be dark again. And that's a different conversation. But if something went wrong with the consultation, I didn't understand fully what you wanted and you're unhappy, I would do your hair again. If I can't make you happy, 100% refund. That's it. I guarantee my work. If you could try and come back to me again, though, you have to pay for that service. Like if someone tries to win, like get over one on you, because people will try and do that. You're paying for the first service and then paying for the new one again. Because I've had that happen before, and that's what I did. Now, when it comes to no discounting, that's how I did it. Like I would have an unbelievable offer. That was my guarantee. And so if you can guarantee it with 100% certainty, you're going to love your hair. It's a bold statement, right? Because hair could be tricky. It may not lift the way it lifted before, and now today for some reason it's not lifting the way I wanted it to. But you have to be confident, and competence breeds confidence. So if you're the most competent person behind the chair in your area, you can be very confident charging almost any price that you want because you know you deliver the result time after time after time after time. And nobody will ask for a discount because you're oversubscribed. They can't get in with you. So once you have enough people banging on your door to get their hair done by you, you can name your price and you could just say no. Hey, listen, Barbara, I totally understand that's a little bit out of your budget right now. That's fine. We could do a partial instead of a full. That might be a more in your budget. But if not, I got Vanessa over here. She's phenomenal. She's at a different price point. You're more than welcome to go to her. And you don't have to worry about it because you're fully booked. You don't ever have to worry about that. So, all right, James, next question.
What systems or tools do you recommend for tracking profitability per service?
Per service, I believe in parts and labor. So as long as you track your color costs and everything, that's the only tool. Like for color wise, that's how you see if you're profitable or not. Can you have them shut that door, James?
Yes.
Like, so there's a lot of tools out there, but honestly, old school pen and paper, you have your booking software. But if you're in a suite or if you rent the chair, you got to put how much your monthly expenses are. To be honest with you, the best tool to use, I can't believe I didn't just come off the cuff with this one, ChatGPT or Grok or some kind of AI. You're going to list in all of your expenses you have for the salon. And then you're going to list in everything you use for that client on a per gram basis or per ounce basis. You're going to list out how much that color costs per tube, how much that bleach costs per tub. You're going to list out the box of foils, you used a pair of gloves, all that pricing, throw it in ChatGPT. And then what you do is you You put out how much you charge that person, and it will tell you how much you made on that person minus the expenses. And then you take a look at that. You're like, all right, I made $40 on this full highlight. Maybe it's time to raise my prices because I spent 3 hours on that person and I used a ton of color. So the best way to do that would be ChatGPT, and it would take down how many hours you spent on that person, how many hours that equates to per hour of rent in your building, because it just does the math for you. It's genius. And then you have a good understanding of how much it costs you per client and what your profits are. Next question.
Um,
If there are none, that's cool. We could rock and
how
roll.
much of your budget should you be spending on overhead by Keely Kenyon?
How much of your budget should be on overhead?
Yep.
I think it should be the other way around. Right? I think you should have an idea of what your overhead is before you get put into a position. Like you should know walking into a salon, like, hey, I'm gonna like this space where I was at right here. My rent was really inexpensive in when I left brick and mirror and came to the warehouse salon and I opened up my second location. I'm talking like I would be able to pay my monthly bills in one day behind the chair. The whole month I was able to cover the rent and my expenses. So I made sure I got myself into a situation that I knew I could handle. I think where a lot of people go wrong in the suites is they sign the lease and they think magically now I'm going to create this business out of thin air to pay for my overhead. No, make sure before you walk into a business situation and you take on a chair rental or a suite or a salon as an owner, you have the ability to pay for those expenses. And then what you start doing is you start figuring out expansion. So you're going to have to budget in either a bigger location or budget in expanding your salon to the next unit over possibly. I hope that gave you some clarity on that answer. But yeah, I don't look at it as like budgeting for my overhead because you should have that under control before you get put in that situation. Let me know if that didn't answer your question. I'll clarify a little more.
Uh, nice to tell us to put it in ChatGPT. I don't know what that was entailed.
Yeah, it was like, hey, a cop out. It's not a cop out because you still have to prime it the right way and prompt it with all your information. But if you guys, if you don't carry on conversations with some kind of AI on a daily basis, if you don't understand the basics of priming the conversation, you're just using it the wrong way. I'll spend a half hour priming the conversation to get the result that I want. Garbage in, garbage out. If you're like, oh, ChatGPT is okay, then you're not using it the right way. You can prime it the right way, tell it to act as a Harvard educated financial expert, accountant, data analyst, whatever you want to prime it with, and then say, I'm going to upload my P&L that I extracted out of QuickBooks. I need you to analyze my P&L and give me a step-by-step breakdown of what to do next to become 13% more profitable in my salon. And then watch the magic happen. James, next question.
We have. Should I tailor pricing based on location, niche, or experience level?
Experience level. Location is like a tiny part of that equation, I feel like, but it's going to be if you're experienced and you're the best, then you could pretty much charge whatever you want. It doesn't matter your location. Here's the reason why. With social media, if you're the best, that means you're a well-balanced hairstylist in 2025. You understand marketing, you understand social media, you understand how to collect attention. So if you live in Indiana, Alabama, the middle of nowhere, but you're the best and you're really, 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 really expensive, like so expensive people gasp when you say the price, and you are out there in the world online and people seek out you for their hair, then you could charge really what you want and you could be in the middle of nowhere. Now, it's a different type of marketing, right? You're not going to get the local community if you're in a income earning bracket of like $40,000 a year or $25,000 a year and that's your what the community you're in. It's going to be really hard if you don't have good marketing. But if you're the best, there's Mercedes in the hood, there's iPhones in the hood, people are spending money. Like, so why not you? But you have to be the best. So I say experience and talent and then you can leverage anything you want. Like if let's say you're a bridal hairstylist, right? And you're the best in the world. I guarantee you there's somebody out there who has a net worth of $100 million, whose daughter wants to get married. And she's like, I want this girl on Instagram to do my hair. Guess who they're flying out to do the hair for the wedding? They're probably going to fly you out there if you're the best. So don't put limitations on yourself because of your geographical location. Just find out what needs to be true about the thing that you're doing so you can charge what you want to charge. Last question, James.
Last question. Let's see. We got. How do I calculate the minimum I should charge to be profitable per service?
That goes back to the ChatGPT question. Don't think the minimal though. Like don't think to yourself, like, what's the minimum I have to charge? What is your lifestyle? What's your freedom number? Like on a magical planet like the one that we live on, how much do you want to make in this career? 100,000 a year, 200,000 a year, 500,000 a year, and then figure out from there, work yourself backwards. Do you have the skill level to sustain making 500,000 a year, or do you have to get better? If you have to get better, then get better. But if you are the best and you have the skills to do it, all right, you want to make $500,000 a year doing hair. It could be a stretch. How much does that equate to? Work. How many highlights a week can you physically do for how many hours a day? How many days a week do you want to work? Work all those numbers in the equation. It might have to be like Ted Gibson, $2,600 a haircut. And then you might be at that $500,000 a year mark. Somebody out there is doing it. Why not you? Now, there's other avenues in our industry. Maybe you have an e-commerce store. Maybe you start a brand. Maybe you start a product line. Maybe you're doing some kind of ambassador work or like an affiliate work where you're working with a brand to sell their product through your TikTok or your Instagram through affiliate marketing or your YouTube channel. There's other avenues to get you there. So you can position yourself by being an influencer in the industry and by being the best. It keeps going back to being the best, guys.
One last question from Westwood. What percentage of our services should we reinvest into our education?
Ooh, that's a good one. Now, it depends on what your lifestyle's like. If you It depends what your big numbers like, how fast you want to move, and where you're at in your life. Like, so for me, I'm a dad, right? I can't invest as much as I could if I didn't have kids and a wife and a mortgage and rent to pay on a bunch of locations. So that number's skewed. So take a look at your personal life. If you could live like no one else will for the next 2 or 3 years, or let's say next year or two, then you can live like no one else can from year 3 on. So if you could really just pump the brakes on your lifestyle and reinvest in your education, I'm saying maybe live off 20% of your income and invest 80%. Live off 30% of your income and invest 70%. That money will compound and pay you back in dividends down the road. So invest as much as you can in the beginning. If it's like, I mean, a year ago, I think I invested almost 100 grand in my own education. Like it was absurd, but I made that back in like a month and a half. So it's like it's all relevant to what you put in. Excuse me. So take a look at your lifestyle, and are there things that you could cut out of your lifestyle so you can reinvest more in education? But to answer your question in a nutshell, you have to like, are you a dad yet? Do you have a family yet? There's a lot of variables to that question. If it's none of those, then invest like 40%. Like really take your education seriously, and not just in haircutting, coloring, like things that are actually going to help you grow. Like invest in a mentor, invest in a coach, in a community, invest in something that could actually have a reflection on your income level. Just because you learn how to cut hair or you learned a butterfly haircut doesn't necessarily mean you're going to actually be able to make more money with that. Learn how to market, learn how to have the belief system, the belief structure, and the mindset to be able to charge more. Like there's a lot more to education than just the next balayage class, because you can go on YouTube and watch these videos and do it yourself. What are you pretending not to know that you already know? Ask yourself that question first. And then whatever you don't know, then take classes for that. All right, guys, That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that live. If you're a hairstylist, we are opening a stylist part of the community called Next Level Stylist. Shoot me a DM and I will get you information on that. If you're a salon owner and you're looking for ways to grow a team, grow your salon, become profitable, so you don't have to work behind the chair anymore unless you want to, DM me the word grow and we'll get into a conversation to see how we can change your life. James, that's it for today. Everybody, I'll see you later. I'm out.